Hi, Zizaran here with another Harvest guide video, and this time featuring craft the build for like a lot of generic CI like energy shield stuff, but also like gonna be focusing very hard on the Essence Drain CI build that I have on the Trickster. If you're not familiar with craft the build, what I'm gonna do is I'm basically gonna hover over each thing and then talk about how to craft them, as well as some alternative and what gear should look like. Obviously, this is a slightly advanced build as well because it's not life, it's an energy shield build. And yeah, I just wanted to like show a little bit here. So let's start out with an example. Energy shield gear is different than life gear in a lot of ways because quality matters a lot more here. So because of that, you really want to get higher quality than just 20. You want to get 28 or 30 if you can. So how do we get higher than 20 quality? Well, there's a couple of ways. So you can use perfect fossils before starting crafting. This is going to basically like it's the same as using a chaos on the item. So don't do this in something you've already crafted. It will like re-roll it, and then you will, you'll lose all the crafts basically. If you do like the betrayal system and you get Hillock on fortification, that can give you when he's level 3, it'll force 28. This does not reset the quality. Reset the craft. So I could do this on like my existing gear. So like my helmet is pretty nice. And I could get 28 quality to put it up to like 320 energy shield. So that's some like good ways to get quality there. When something is like finished and you're never going to change it as well, you can do like the bestiary 30 quality as well. This is not going to destroy the item. It's just going to guarantee 30 quality. And then you can't like craft on it afterwards, obviously, because it's corrupted. Craft an armor or weapon. So that's mostly like, if I guess I could do that here if I don't want to change the cold resist. Actually, yeah, maybe that's what I'll do. I am going to like show some crafting examples as well. So I've farmed up some like, I think I have at least some defense things here. So let's see. I should have some defense things here. This is like the nicest thing. Reforge a rare item with a random modifier, including defense modifiers, and they're more common. So I would here put in the chest, and we're hoping for like multiple energy shield rolls. So this is like actually something that's like not bad as an example to talk about a few different things. So the one we're looking at, the one on the right here called Rune Cloak, and this doesn't have anything potentially good on it right now, but I want to with this explain how to get rid of mana, especially easy on shields, gloves, boots, and helmet. It's harder on chests, but pretty doable there as well. A lot of people struggle with how do you get rid of mana on items? Well, with defense items in particular, this is a lot easier. So you need the thing that says, I think I have one down here. Remove a random non-defense and add a defense modifier. Now, in this case on chest, there is actually a defense modifier, and we're gonna look at the like PoB website. So we'll link to this in the description as well. We can see here. Like the easiest way to like see modifiers is I'll click on defense. It'll remove all the life mods, but this is like a good idea. So we can see that the only defense here is regenerate energy shield per second. But let's say that it already had that, or in the example of like the other ones, like gloves, helmet, boots. As far as I know, none of those have any defense suffixes at all. I know helmet and shield doesn't. And you can see that there are a few defense prefixes, right? So why is this so important? So especially if this already had the regen thing, what that would mean is that if I use this, say that this is a shield or a helmet, if I then use the remove random non-defense modifier and add a new defense modifier, it would remove the mana and give us a defense modifier. This should be really high percentage energy shield. It can be the like shitty hybrid life and energy shield or the shitty hybrid and mana energy shield, but it's going to be guaranteed that it does the prefix. Well, why is that? Well, that's because it can't remove, like for example, the stun and block recovery or a resist and add defense again, right? Because there are no defense suffixes on those other pieces. And like here, if I already have the percentage defense suffix, it is not going to add a fourth prefix, right? Items in Path of Exile, they have 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. So in an example like that, let's say this is a shield and it has like the energy shield, but then this is actually what happened on this shield, I think as well. It didn't have the energy shield and stun block recovery hybrid. It had mana instead. I do that, the non-defense to defense, and that is guaranteed on the shield do remember this is slightly different if you have things like Crusader influence or Shaper influence, but at least on this, it can't do anything. Like, it could never remove the block. Block isn't defense, but it's just that it has to remove it. And that's because of the way, like, that there are only 3 prefixes and 3 suffixes. Because you can't, like, remove the block recovery and add a 4th defense prefix, right? And it's not going to just remove something. It has to add, like, it has to do both. And that's why it's important. So it's a little bit complicated. And also, something that'll happen is that if it tries, because it will try, but if it tries to remove, for example, the block or a resist or something else, it'll actually say, can't do that. So you have to click it again and again until it, like, goes through, and then it'll hit the mana. So that's like a really like cool, hopefully simple explanation. I know it's a little bit complicated, but hopefully simple explanation on how you can remove mana in some cases. That would work on this. Obviously, like this, it's got the unworldly defense, right? You can see there on Rune Cloak to the right, like it's got unworldly, so it's not good. But if this was, you know, tier 1 percentage energy shield and tier 2 flat, then that would be something worth exploring. Now, we would have to do that twice on this exact example, because first it would most likely give us the regenerate energy shield per second, and then the second one would get rid of the other. But pretty cool examples there. So here we would just continue rolling, see if we get something good. Would be fun. There's like nothing special here. I'm basically trying to hit like on this. You could like actually, okay, so in Sadist Garbs or like hybrid ones, the most important stat is the one you see here, like Spirit or Eidolon, because you can't craft both evasion and energy shield in a really high amount. Like you can craft decent high flat energy shield or decent high flat evasion, but the hybrid isn't that good. So especially for like hybrid ES gear, it's very important that you at least have that, because the evasion and energy shield, I think you can craft up to 78. So for example, this, you would never just craft the flat, because we do want, it's very important for the build that you want high evasion and energy shield, not just energy shield. This is a great example of a starter one. So for example, if you aren't 100% sure what this is going to turn into, I can control C it in game, and this is like no mod or anything like that. It's just like built into Path of Exile, and then you can control V it into Path of Building, which is obviously a third-party mod, but very worth having. Here I would just search for energy shield, and you see I can craft up to 74. So with this would be a 960, 345, almost as good as the one I'm using. So really, really easy to get something like simple. We do obviously want something more. I kind of want something like 430, 440 would be ideal for me. But that's like a quick example of a shield. And then there's nothing else we can do here, so I'm just going to condense the life force. Here, we don't really have anything special that I want to save. Oh, you know what? Like, I might as well save a 5-link. There, we'll just store that. Remember that you can store the Hordy crafting stations as well. Here we see some more defense ones. This isn't like amazing right now and something worth keeping. Nah, it's too low. Now, in some examples, you could spam like the remove defense and defense too, but I find like it's pretty hard to hit something good with those. A lot of the time. A lot of it, honestly, you can get so much good gear with like craft defense. If you do hit something hybrid, like for example, let's say this had like the high percentage energy shield. Say it had the dragonflies, and then maybe slightly higher than cherubs. Cherubs is pretty low. There's a big difference you can see on just tier 3 to tier 2. It's like almost double. But if you had like the tier 2 or tier 1, so Spirit or Eidolon is the higher tiers called, but then you didn't have the percentage which is currently incorporeal, you could either do augment defense, or you could craft see, I'll show you evasion and energy shield for 2 chaos, so you don't like need to hit something perfect. But that's some examples that, like, for the test, yeah, you can very easily get decent quality with perfect fossils and then spam defense, and that's very viable. Most of the gear has been extremely easy to craft. And again, I wouldn't use Val Regaliers or anything else. Sadist Garb is really nice. As far as influence modifiers, you could use something like a Sadist Garb, because you could, like a Shaped Sadist Garb, because you get +1 active skill gems. Now, there's no, from what I can tell, like it's just gem level. Like there's no like caster. It doesn't count as caster. So you can't like cheese that with harvest crafting to the best of my knowledge. Only thing would be like forcing or sorry, like alteration rolling +1 spell gems, and then spamming like add defense, remove defense until you get something good. And that is like pretty okay, but it'll take a while. That's some options you have there though. So next, let's talk about the amulet. For this, I would ideally want a hunter amulet. And a hunter amulet, let's go look at that on the PoED website. Let's look at hunter and what's so special about it and what we want. Well, we want +1 dex skill, sorry, +1 intelligence skill gems, and we also want +1 int skill gems. Now, both of these are on hunter, so there's nothing cool we can do with awaken orbs there. And most importantly, you can get both on the same one, and they're pretty easy to get. So what you want to do, you want to alteration roll, or just like chaos spam through harvest until you get +int skill gems. If you are like chaos crafting and stuff, like you can probably very easily hit with like the chaos harvest craft, like the chaos orb. I don't know what to call it, but you know, like harvest that says craft chaos gems are more likely. You could probably very easily hit just +1 with some decent other mods. But yeah, I would probably do alterations until I hit int gems, and then, well, let's click on the aberrant fossil, which is it's gonna remove the lightning modifiers, but that's not important. We just want to see what tags there are. So we see here chaos resist, right? We definitely can hit that as a suffix. And then what else do we have? Well, we have chaos damage over time multiplier. That is something that's like something we can augment. But prefixes, well, there's nothing. There's no chaos damage, no nothing. So that means that you could basically force, you're going to get leech's life, and you're going to get chaos skill gems. So if you have two open prefixes, to say you have the intelligence, right? You have the intelligence, that's the only mod, and you regal and it hits the suffix. So you have, say, intelligence and like, I don't know, regen life per second. Then, as long as you slam 2 augments into it on your prefixes. So, you know, if you really want to like, something that would be nice then, for example, would be, say you have +1 int skill gems, fire resist, and like regen life per second or whatever, and then a crafted third, so that you've blocked all the suffixes. That means that whenever you aug chaos, it's going to hit either leech's life or chaos skill gems, and then the other one, right? They're the only chaos prefixes you can get. So now it's very deterministic and easy to force. And do remember, you need an item level 82 hunter amulet, but you can very easily force +1 int and +1 chaos. Once you have both, you can force remove chaos damage leech's life, because you can do remove life mod. And then as the third stat, you can just percentage energy shield craft would probably be my best bet. And then for the suffixes afterwards, it depends a little bit on what you've like hit with like augs and regals. But as you can see, like you have like sadly the malevolence reduced reservation is, it's mana. You can't force that, but you can force the chaos damage over time and chaos resist. Getting rid of the chaos resist afterwards is a bit of a pain. Like, unless you keep like wiping prefixes, and I'll explain what that is now by doing, for example, prefixes cannot be changed for 2x and then scouring and doing that repeatedly. There's like no easy way of getting rid of just the chaos rest. You could do prefixes cannot be changed and then like remove chaos, aug chaos, remove chaos, aug chaos until you have the damage over time multiplier, and that's probably the best option. Let's talk about like backup amulets then. So I have an amulet here. It's just shit tons of int. I put the quality attribute modifiers, and then I think on this one, I think I slammed, I can't remember. I might have just like spammed this in harvest, because I think off the virtuoso, I don't think that is an essence. But throwing like shrieking and deafening essences, pretty viable there. And then I've used the aspect of the crab. You can put this on either ring or amulet or belt. That doesn't really matter that much. The main thing here is that it's not on something that has equipment, because support gems does affect it quite a lot of the time. So like Arcane Surge could make it be more expensive, for example. I can't remember exactly what affects it, but that's why you really want to try to figure it or have it on something that doesn't have support gems. The ring as well. This was insanely lucky. I didn't really like intentionally make this for anything in particular. I was just hoping to get some nice rings. On this, I was just doing lightning modifiers, and I already had a tribute because I was hoping for either like a strength ring or an int ring. It's a really nice ring. It's insanely rare to hit this. It's not intentional. Normally, I would be crafting rings with like, you know, the defense modifier craft, and then just hoping for a high energy shield roll. Hearing a like crazy int So 5 int equals 1% energy shield. So the 66 int here really adds up. And you can see, hopefully I can take it off. I'll list the thing. But you can see that it's like 500 energy shield. And like the other one, you can either craft a hunter ring. Let's see. Let's bring up the hunter ring panel here. The despair on here, that is actually a chaos mod. And obviously there's only like chaos resist you can hit. See, I don't think we can craft a pure chaos resist roll, right? Chaos resist? No, we can only craft the hybrid one, so you can't really block that, sadly. You know, you'll get the chaos resist, and then the next thing, the other only suffix you can get on a ring is then the despair. Because the poison here is like poison, it doesn't count. And then I don't think there's any prefixes. There's like no other chaos stuff. So it's, you know, you'll get chaos resist wastage. Don't mind the ×5 there. There's nothing else. Let's see. There is no, yeah, nothing else. So it's very easy to force the despair there on a ring. The other alternative, which is what I have here, is a despair on hit ring from Delve. The areas will look like this, but we'll say contains chaos items. It'll be like purple. So that's the rings and amulet covered. Boots. On these, I just like spammed defense and I ended up... No, actually, this one was alteration crafted. So I've made these from scratch. So I hit unassailable and regaled seething. And I was like, well, you know, they're kind of okay already. So I just crafted till I got 24% movement speed for 4 chaos. And then I did Og cold, Og fire, and Og lightning through the harvest things. And then, cool. Now, if I wanted to continue, I could do remove fire, add fire until I got 48 fire resist. And same with cold resist. And then I would have 5 tier 1 stats. Very, very easy. Honestly, like, it is just a matter of time. Sometimes you'll get lucky and hit it really quickly. Sometimes it'll take a while. But it's incredibly easy to do. Then you can do augment speed and also remove and add speed until you get 35% movement speed, which is item level 86 boots. And item level 86 is pretty important for a lot of the energy shield gear. Not so much on gloves, not so much on helmet. I think it's 85 you need to get tier 1 int on helmet. And gloves is like, I can't remember, but gloves you can get away with a lot easier. So for the gloves, you can use here either sorcerer gloves or fingerless gloves. I kind of prefer fingerless gloves. Sorcerer gloves have like the potential for a little bit more energy shield, but the next ones moving forward, I am doing energy shield, fingerless. So here's like an example. And how do we make these? Well, you need a essence of delirium. You know what? Let's just do another example so we have more ready just in case. And I'm not really gonna use them on much else. Let's see, do I have fingerless gloves ready to go? And like getting quality on these beforehand, like up to like 30 is obviously only a good thing. I don't have any more perfect fossils, but boom. So how would I solve this problem? Is this like viable? What if this was the only one I had? Yes, these are completely doable to fix. We can like, obviously these are annoying to fix because they got 6 stats. That's annoying. The ones I've had have been a lot easier. But let's say that was your only delirium and maybe your soul's off and you're like, shit. What do I do now? That was my only delirium. Can I even make gloves? Yeah, you can. So this is a great example. Remove physical. Guaranteed to remove the physical damage. Remove lightning. Also, you can do remove attack mods too. That'll remove both the prefixes, right? So you can do either remove lightning, either remove fizz, or remove attack mods to fix your prefixes. And then regen life per second. That's just remove life mod. And the chaos is just remove chaos. The damage over time does not have a tag. There's no way you can remove that accidentally. Now, in this case, you're stuck with the mana. That's not the end of the world, right? I only have like 15 ES and 25 life. So you're going to get 20 flat energy shield, less than mine, but you will get some mana. So it's not that bad. So these are completely salvageable, even on this bad like hit. And then you want to do the multi-mod recipe, which is craft up to 3 modifiers. How do you get this? And that is from the Pale Council. So you need a full set of these. These are gotten to the prophecy ones. Let's see if I have some prophecy ones. Yeah, so like these. The Plague Maw 5, and there's like 3 others. You could look it up on the wiki very easily. But there's like the Unbreathing Queen, Plague Maw 5. Anyway, there's 4 of them. And once you have all those, you get like the prefixes cannot be changed. Attack mods cannot roll. There. These are all the ones you get. Cannot roll. That one's that cheap? That's amazing. Attack mods, prefixes, and suffixes. And yeah, that's really, really nice. And then from defeating the Pale Council, you get the cannon 2 up to 3 crafted modifiers. Now, the projectile, let's see, gems. AoE gems and projectile gems is 1 divine each. These are unveiled from betrayal. And for any craft, like if it's undiscovered, it'll show down here if it's like, you know, from a map area or if it's by unveiling. So that's how you make those. And these, while obviously they're like semi-expensive, it depends a little bit on how like common exalts are to you as a player. But like in SSF, there's not that many uses for exalts. So I've had like 15 or something so far. Obviously I play a lot, but this is something that's really, really good to double corrupt because the gloves are like relatively easy, right? And they're way much more low cost than like repeatedly double corrupting 6-link chests with good rolls. So making a glove like this, like I've had like quite a lot now, be like doable. And this is like my next pair. This is like pretty much like best case scenario. It's going to be really sad if they get destroyed. But if they hit like +2 AoE gems, +2 projectile, +1 gems, then like, you know, you can ideally get +4 here, which is like crazy. I think there's duration gems too. So you can use duration, brush. And this is why in the build we use the ED and the glove, because then we can have blight and the chest, and between the two of them you get a really, really nice damage. Because this is like now, like even without the Val, these were already better than like a 6-link pretty much. Or slightly worse. Now with the +2, they're better. So I have level 26 Essence Drain, and once I get to 21, I get 27. So that's the gloves. They're really, really nice. Other than that, you could use something like, let's see, I have some other examples of gloves as well. These are really nice, and with these, I would probably not have the Essence Drain here. Then I would have the Essence Drain in a 5 or 6-link. The 6th link for Essence Drain would be Energy Shield Leech support, which isn't that great, and that's why I really like the glove setup. And then I could have like a 4-link Blight here and a glove. But yeah, so some cool options there. The helmet, I've used a Loathing Essence. I think this is a Screaming Loathing Essence. I like kind of ran out because I started like overusing them a bit. Yeah. So if I like upgrade here, Screaming is 3% reduced. And I do have some cool ones I'm working on here that I can show as an example. Where is it? Here. This is 5% reduced. So what am I going to do next here? I'm going to do augment defense and then play around with like remove defense and add defense. After that, I can do remove life for the last suffix and then craft a resist there. And then there's not much I can do with like the stun and block recovery, sadly. But yeah, hoping to get this is like a really nice one and possibly do a wonder with it because of the enchant I hit. But yeah, I don't have a boot enchant for the like cast spell recently mana regen. And I don't have like Eldritch Knowledge for the Cluster Jewel. We'll talk about Cluster Jewels in a sec. The wand is a little bit advanced and you have a couple of options. Option A, get an item level 64 or 64 Opal Wand or Imbued Wand. Opal's better for Self-Cast, Imbued is better for Spellslinger. And then you just spam caster mods or alterations if you hate yourself. But spam caster mods until you hit spell skill gems. Then you want to clean up the prefixes. If you hit like spell damage roll, that's a bit of an oof because you can't really get rid of the spell damage roll that easily. But if you hit like, you know, attack mods like added damage to lightning or added, you know, those are pretty easy to remove just by like remove lightning, remove cold, remove fire, remove attack mods. And then you will like either plug up the suffixes or accidentally hit some like chaos resistance stuff like that, right? But make sure you at least have like an open suffix to socket, like the trigger or socketed spells when you use the skill. This is really nice. And at the moment I'm doing like Steel Skin, Tempest Shield, and Cold Snap on a rotation. Steel Skin just for some defense, Tempest Shield for spell block, and Cold Snap for chilling enemies and getting frenzy charges. Let's say that we have the suffixes are filled up, right? I augment chaos. What's gonna happen? When we're item level 65, 66 is really bad. That adds loads of chaos mods. But when we're 65 or 64, then we can hit Chaos Spell Skill Gems or Chaos Damage Over Time Multiplier. And then when you do the next Chaos Aug, you hit the other one. So it's guaranteed. This is super deterministic. What are some other options that isn't like, doesn't involve me getting +1 all Spell Skill Gems? Because that can be a pain. Well, I've used like a similar method in the past, but I just realized like how good it is for this by looking at Gucci. Gucci Prada is a really cool streamer. Definitely check him out. But I was watching his like Vortex thing, and I was like, hey, this actually is a good example for me to suggest to other people for making a budget the Chaos Slinger. So if we look at his wand here, right? It's an item level 2 wand, and it's got 94 spell damage, some shit cast speed, and then +1 level of all cold spell skill gems. So this is pretty easy to make for pretty much anything, and extremely easy for chaos. So what you do is you make a new character, kill Hillock, and then sell a Scouring and a Wisdom Orb, puts the character at level 1. Why do we do this? Well, that's because then every wand you buy from the vendor is going to be item level 2. And the reason that this is important is that we specifically don't want item level 4, and item level 3 is pretty shit too. I think there's some... There, added lightning. We don't want this, right? So item level 2 is great because we can get chaos spells, skill gems, and all these at level 2. So what we do then is we use a deafening essence of woe, and that doesn't care about item level. That's going to force the roll up to like 106 or something of spell damage onto this wand. Now, hopefully you don't hit like hybrid spell damage, because you could hit this one. That would be bad, right? But ideally you hit something that's easy to remove, like some physical damage, some cold damage, or some shitty damage to spells. And then you just augment chaos. It's the only other thing you can hit. You can't hit chaos resist. Doesn't matter what the suffixes are. The only chaos mod at that level is, as you can see, everything else is super high level. Like item level 4 for this. So you don't want item level 4. And then, yeah, you're guaranteed chaos. So then you get a one with like, sure, you don't get +1 spell skill gems, but you get like 105 spell damage, and you get +1 chaos. That's pretty great too. I think that actually might even be around just as good. Like you do lose like 35 spell damage from the implicit, but it's so easy to make, even easier than the one I have. And if you're wondering why I have cold resist on it, like my resists weren't that high, so I was like, you know what? Don't have a particularly useful use for my suffixes. Hey, useful use. So I just ogged cold rest, and I should like reroll that a few times until it gets higher. And then I forced cast speed on my higher one by crafting spell crit and doing augment caster mod. But yeah, so that's like a good example there of how to get the wand and like the other one. So definitely Essence of Woe, super worth. Let's cover the shield. The shield as well is just defense pretty much is what I've done. However, what I want long term is ideally double tier 1. So like, you know, incandescent and unfiltering, putting us as like 350 energy shield, 370, something like that. I can't remember. But then I want to have like the suffixes filled up and do augment chaos and remove chaos, add chaos until I hit +1. Now there are other ones that are like lightning is extra chaos and like annoying things like that. Once you are like this item level of a shield, ideally you want item level 86. But I would just repeat that until I got +1 chaos skill gems. You could just get like triple tier 1 with like high energy shield and get like 430 or something energy shield. So it's a little bit up to what you need there. Belt as well, like just not like the interesting things I want to belt. I did get a really good jewel. The unsought jewels are very, very easy to make. If you get a searching eye and then do augment, or sorry, not augment, if you just reforge with caster mods, this is guaranteed to give you unsought pretty much. It's like almost guaranteed. It's like one other mod. So it's like, I feel like 70 or 80% of the time you get the caster mods. Honestly, on these, I've just been spamming the chaos mods. I think, are they caster or chaos? Yeah, they're all chaos. I've just been spamming caster mods on the spell ones and chaos mods on that, and just hoping for okay things. They're like alteration craftable too, but yeah, I've definitely been spamming harvest on those. And the other jewel is just, I just needed crafting blood immunity. It's like a 1-stat jewel. These as well, these were pretty easy to do alteration rolls for just energy from naught, but you know, the defense thing should be pretty doable too. Flasks, pretty important for this build, so make sure you have freeze, bleed, shock, and curse immunity. You can remove bleed immunity if you get it on a jewel, like I have. And then you can get percentage evasion instead. I just wanted to make like a quick guide summing up all the gear. I think everything is included here, and I know ES is like scary for a lot of people, so a little bit longer than normal. I hope you guys enjoyed the video and that it helps. If you have any questions, at least now I don't think I missed any of the gear, but yeah, if you have any questions, drop comments down below. I know in the last video I missed the shield, but yeah, hope these videos help. Let me know if you think these are good videos and I should continue doing them. Thanks so much for all like the subs and all the support. It is appreciated. Thanks for watching, and try to die less than I do.